Imagine you're standing outside on a bright, warm afternoon. The sun is high in the sky, radiating its golden light, warming your skin and casting soft shadows on the ground. Birds chirp, leaves rustle in the gentle breeze, and life continues as it always has. But then something impossible happens. In the blink of an eye, the sun is gone. Not setting behind the horizon, not blocked by an eclipse, just vanished. The sky, once blue, turns an unsettling shade of black. The warmth that once caressed your skin is suddenly absent, replaced by an eerie chill. You look around in confusion. There's no warning, no explosion, no sound. Just a void where the sun should be. At first you might think it's an illusion, a trick of the mind. But as the seconds tick by, reality sets in. The sun, the very heart of our solar system, is no more. For the next 8 minutes and 20 seconds, Earth remains blissfully unaware. Light, after all, travels at a finite speed, 186,000 miles per second. It takes just over 8 minutes for sunlight to reach our planet, meaning that even if the sun were to vanish instantly, Earth wouldn't know it immediately. Those final rays of sunlight, now nothing more than echoes of a past that no longer exists, continue to illuminate our world. The wind still blows, the tides still move, electricity still flows. But the moment those last photons reach us, everything changes. In an instant, the world is plunged into absolute darkness. Not just the kind of darkness you experience at night, where city lights glow and the moon reflects sunlight back at us. This is something far more terrifying, a complete and utter void. The moon disappears as well, for without the sun it has no light to reflect. Every other planet in the solar system, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, will also experience this sudden blackout as the absence of sunlight ripples outward at the speed of light. In the vast emptiness of space, everything is now just an outline against an abyss. Stars still shine in the distance, but the familiar presence of our own sun is gone. At this moment, panic begins to set in. The world's power grids remain functional, for now, and artificial lights flicker on, illuminating cities and towns across the globe. But astronomers and physicists realize the horrifying truth almost immediately. Telescopes scanning the sky confirm that the sun is simply not there anymore, not obscured, not hidden behind some cosmic phenomenon, just gone. Scientists, news, anchors and government officials scramble to comprehend what has happened, but no explanation seems to fit. The sun cannot simply vanish. It is a colossal mass of nuclear fusion, a celestial furnace converting 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium every second. Such an entity cannot just cease to exist without leaving behind some trace. No explosion, no energy release, no gravitational collapse. This is where things get even stranger. The disappearance of sunlight is shocking, but the loss of the sun's gravity is an even greater catastrophe. The sun's gravitational force is what holds our entire solar system together, keeping planets in stable orbits. However, just like light, gravity also propagates at the speed of light. This means that Earth continues to orbit nothing for exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds, as if the sun were still there. But when those final moments pass, the effect reaches us, and our planet is set free. With nothing left to anchor us, Earth is now a rogue planet, hurtling through space on a path dictated by its last velocity, 67,000 miles per hour. We are no longer bound to any central star, no longer part of a stable system. We are adrift in the cosmos, moving through the endless void with no clear destination. The consequences of this are terrifying. Meanwhile, down on the surface, the loss of sunlight brings about immediate and drastic changes. Temperatures begin to plummet. Within the first hour, the absence of solar radiation causes the surface temperature to drop by a few degrees. This doesn't seem too extreme at first. After all, nighttime temperatures naturally fall when the sun sets. But this time, there will be no sunrise. However, every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Right now, Cosmic Whispers is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you enjoy unraveling the mysteries of the universe, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us grow this community together. Over the next few days, Earth's climate descends into chaos. Without the sun's warmth, photosynthesis halts instantly. Plants can no longer produce oxygen and crops stop growing. While existing oxygen won't disappear overnight, the long-term survival of all ecosystems is now in jeopardy. Animals that rely on sunlight for navigation, like birds and insects, become disoriented. The sudden eternal night disrupts migration patterns, breeding cycles, and feeding habits. But the most immediate concern is the temperature drop. Within a week, global temperatures plummet below freezing. Oceans, which store heat better than land, remain liquid for longer, but their surfaces begin to ice over. Within a month, most of the planet's surface is covered in ice. The warmest regions near the equator may still hover just above freezing for now, but this temporary respite won't last. The deeper oceans remain liquid beneath the thickening ice sheets, providing the last refuge for marine life. Human civilization is now in crisis mode. Nations deploy emergency resources to keep populations alive, rationing food and fuel. Without sunlight, traditional farming is no longer viable. Greenhouses with artificial light become crucial for food production, but the energy requirements to maintain them are immense. Governments initiate massive efforts to generate heat, utilizing nuclear and geothermal energy. The demand for power skyrockets as people try to keep warm in an increasingly frozen world. The biggest question on everyone's mind is, how long can humanity survive? While underground bunkers and geothermal energy may provide temporary shelter, the long-term outlook is bleak. If Earth continues its drift into interstellar space, temperatures will eventually drop to an uninhabitable -400 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, even the most well-prepared shelters will struggle to maintain warmth. But perhaps the most terrifying part of all is the unknown. With Earth now untethered, where are we headed? Will we drift forever into the abyss, or could we encounter something even more dangerous in the endless void? At first, most people don't realize just how severe the situation is. Cities still glow with artificial lights, homes remain warm with electricity, and technology continues to function as if nothing has changed. But scientists, astronomers, and government leaders understand the gravity of the situation immediately. The world is in shock, struggling to process the impossible. Our sun, the very foundation of life, on Earth is gone. And soon the consequences will reach an irreversible tipping point. The most immediate and tangible effect is the temperature drop. In the first few hours, the absence of solar radiation causes temperatures to decrease slightly, like they would on a normal night. But as time progresses, a terrifying realization sets in. This is not just another night. There will be no dawn, no sunrise, no return of warmth. The temperature continues to drop, faster and faster, as the planet loses heat into space. Within 24 hours, the average global temperature has fallen by a few degrees, with colder regions experiencing even sharper declines. The Earth's atmosphere, which acts as a thermal blanket, is still trapping some heat, but without the sun's constant energy input, it begins to leak into the void of space like an open wound. Desperate for answers, world leaders convene emergency summits, but there is no solution, no fix. Humanity is now in a race against time. Meanwhile, the oceans, which cover over 70% of our planet's surface, begin their slow descent into ice. Water is a powerful heat reservoir, absorbing and storing solar energy over long periods, which means it takes longer to cool than land. However, with no new energy being supplied, the balance is broken. Within a few days, the surfaces of lakes, rivers, and shallow oceans start to freeze over. At first, the ice is thin, fragile, merely a hint of what's to come. But as temperatures continue to plummet, the freezing process accelerates. Despite the growing cold, Earth's deepest oceans remain unfrozen, for now. The sheer volume of water, combined with geothermal heat from the planet's core, keeps the depths from freezing immediately. This becomes a last refuge for marine life, allowing some fish, plankton, and deep-sea creatures to survive, at least temporarily. But without sunlight, photosynthesis stops completely. The very base of the marine food chain collapses, and with it, the delicate balance that sustains ocean life. As plants and plankton die off, larger marine species struggle to find food. Some may adapt for a time, but most are now living on borrowed time. On land, the situation is even more dire. Without the sun, photosynthesis is impossible. Every plant, every tree, every blade of grass, all of it stops growing. The oxygen levels in the atmosphere won't change immediately, as Earth's vast reserves of breathable air will last for thousands of years before depleting. But the long-term consequences are unavoidable. All plant life will eventually wither and die. Crops fail, forests fall silent, and the lush green landscapes of our planet begin their slow march toward death. The animal kingdom reacts in chaos. Birds, accustomed to using the sun for navigation, fly in confused circles before succumbing to exhaustion. Insects, nocturnal hunters, emerge in search of food, only to find their food sources gone. Mammals, including humans, start feeling the effects of the unnatural cold. Livestock raised for food struggle to survive, their habitats turning to frozen wastelands. Ecosystems begin to collapse. Humanity, however, is not ready to give up. Governments launch emergency plans. Cities worldwide shift to a survival mode, prioritizing energy, food production, and heat retention. Nuclear power plants, hydroelectric dams, and geothermal energy stations become the most valuable resources on Earth, the only sources of sustainable power in a world without sunlight. Countries with geothermal hotspots, such as Iceland and regions near the Pacific Ring of Fire, find themselves at the center of humanity's last hopes for survival. Underground shelters become the new homes of the elite and the prepared. Subterranean. Cities, originally designed as research stations or fallout shelters, are now the only places warm enough to sustain life for an extended period. Those who anticipated the disaster, wealthy individuals with underground bunkers, scientists in deep space research facilities, and governments with hidden military bases, have the highest chances of survival. But what about the rest of humanity? Billions of people are left to fend for themselves in a rapidly cooling world. Panic sets in. Wars break out over resources. Nations collapse into anarchy, and cities become battlegrounds for survival. As weeks turn into months, the Earth's surface becomes an inhospitable frozen wasteland. The average global temperature has now plummeted to -100 degrees Fahrenheit. The once vibrant cities of the world are now buried under layers of snow and ice. The equator, which once basked in tropical warmth, is now colder than Antarctica was before the sun's disappearance. Most of human civilization collapses. Only those with access to underground shelters, nuclear power, or geothermal energy continue to cling to life. And yet, despite all of this, the most terrifying part of Earth's new reality is not the cold, not the famine, not even the loss of sunlight. It is the fact that we are now drifting, alone, untethered, lost in the infinite darkness of space. Earth is no longer part of a stable solar system. Without the sun's gravitational pull, we have become a rogue planet, moving at 67,000 miles per hour through the void. At first, our trajectory is predictable. We were following our previous orbit around the sun when it vanished. But over time, with no central mass to hold us in place, our path is dictated by random gravitational influences. This introduces a new set of horrifying possibilities. One possibility is that we drift endlessly through the cosmos, never encountering another star, never being captured by another gravitational force. If this happens, Earth's fate is sealed, a frozen tomb wandering the universe for eternity, a relic of a world that once had life. Eventually, the atmosphere will freeze out, leaving behind only solid nitrogen and oxygen ice. Even the deep oceans will eventually succumb, freezing solid from the top down until all liquid water is gone. But there is another possibility, one just as terrifying. We may encounter something else. Space is vast, but it is not empty. There are rogue planets, massive gas giants, and dark celestial bodies that lurk in the unseen regions of the universe. There are black holes, gravitational monsters that consume everything in their path. If Earth happens to drift too close to one, we could be torn apart by tidal forces, stretched and shattered in a process known as spaghettification before disappearing into the void forever. Or perhaps we are pulled into the orbit of a new star. This would be our only chance at salvation, a second opportunity at finding warmth, light, and perhaps even habitability. But such an event is incredibly rare, and there's no guarantee that a new star would be friendly to life. If we drift Too close to a massive supergiant, we could be incinerated. If we are captured by a dead white dwarf, our frozen existence would remain unchanged. No matter the outcome, one thing is certain: our fate is no longer in our hands. We are at the mercy of the universe, drifting through the darkness, waiting for whatever comes next. And then there's the final question, the one no one dares to ask: what happened to the sun? As Earth drifts farther into the endless abyss of space, the remnants of humanity cling to the last flickers of survival. The planet is unrecognizable. Once a thriving blue world, it is now a frozen, airless wasteland, its surface buried under thick layers of ice. The atmosphere, once a delicate balance of gases sustaining life, has begun to collapse. Oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, once part of the cycle of life, are freezing, falling from the sky like a fine, crystalline mist. The air is thinning. Soon it will be impossible to breathe without artificial support. Most life on the surface has already perished. The once great forests of the Amazon, the vast plains of Africa, the endless wheat fields of North America, all are gone. Cities that once pulsed with energy are now silent tombs, their skyscrapers buried in ice, their streets abandoned, their people long perished. The only remaining warmth comes from deep underground, where pockets of civilization fight against the inevitable. Beneath the frozen surface, in the last surviving bunkers, underground cities, and geothermal-powered shelters, the final remnants of humanity struggle to endure. Their numbers are dwindling. Resources are scarce. Every meal is rationed, every breath carefully monitored. Without plants to replenish oxygen levels, even these last strongholds will eventually run out of breathable air. Some attempt desperate solutions, releasing oxygen from frozen reserves, creating artificial ecosystems in controlled environments, but these are temporary fixes to an inescapable fate. The once global civilization has fractured into isolated groups, each with their own desperate plan for survival. In one underground city, scientists raced to develop fusion reactors, hoping to generate enough heat and energy to create an artificial sun beneath the surface. In another, deep beneath the frozen remnants of what was once a thriving metropolis, a coalition of the world's last engineers attempts to terraform the deep oceans, using hydrothermal vents as the last natural heat source. But these efforts are too little, too late, and then the real terror sets in. Humanity is not alone in the void. For months, as Earth wandered through space, astronomers in hidden observatories have watched the skies. At first, their goal was to track Earth's trajectory, to predict if the planet would ever encounter another star. But what they discovered was something far more chilling. Earth is being followed. A massive unknown object lurks in the darkness, something enormous, something ancient. It does not emit light, nor does it reflect the faint glow of distant stars. It is invisible to the naked eye, detectable only through gravitational disturbances. At first, scientists believed it was a rogue planet, a lost world like Earth drifting without a home. But as they studied its motion, they realized a terrifying truth. It is moving with purpose. It is not following the natural flow of gravity. It is actively pursuing Earth. The knowledge spreads through the remaining survivors, and fear grips the last of humanity. What could it be? A rogue planet? A colossal alien craft? A structure built by something beyond human comprehension? The theories spiral out of control. Some believe it is a cosmic predator, an object that hunts drifting planets and consumes them. Others whisper that it is a Dyson sphere, a megastructure built around a dead star searching for a new power source. The most terrifying possibility? That whatever this is, it was responsible for the disappearance of the sun. The question that no one dared to ask is now impossible to ignore. What happened to our sun? For so long the mystery remained unanswered. There were no traces of an explosion, no remnants of a supernova. The sun did not burn out, it did not decay, it did not collapse into a black hole. It simply vanished. Celestial body with the mass of 330,000 Earths and the gravitational power to hold an entire solar system together, disappeared without a trace. That should be impossible. But what if it wasn't natural? What if something took it? The implications are unfathomable. If an intelligence exists that is capable of making a star disappear, then Earth is utterly powerless. Days pass. The object draws closer. It is now undeniable. This is not a natural phenomenon. Its trajectory is deliberate. It is adjusting its speed to match Earth's movement. Whatever it is aware of us. It has found us, and then it happens. The frozen sky erupts with a brilliance unseen since the sun's disappearance. A colossal rift tears through the heavens, a massive tear in space itself. From its depths, an artificial glow floods the void, illuminating the dead planet below. Earth is no longer alone in the darkness. What emerges from the rift is beyond human understanding. A structure the size of a planet, but unlike anything seen before. It is neither metal nor rock, it is something in between, shifting, morphing, pulsing with energy. It defies all known physics, an impossible construct moving with intelligence and intent. Thousands of lights ignite across its surface, and then it speaks, not in words, not in sounds, but in something deeper. A pulse of pure knowledge, a transmission that bypasses human language, embedding itself directly into the minds of every remaining survivor. A single message. Your son was needed elsewhere. No explanation, no reason, no warning. Only the horrifying realization that we were never in control of our own fate. That something out there, something far beyond our comprehension, holds the power to take stars, to rearrange the cosmos as it sees fit. The structure lingers for a moment, as if observing the dead world below. Then, without sound, without force, it vanishes into the rift, leaving behind only silence. The last survivors stare into the sky, into the endless abyss, knowing that they have seen something they were never meant to see. They now understand one terrible truth. The universe does not belong to us. We were never alone, and now they know we're here.